Ba-dum-ba. Da-da-da. Ba-dum-ba-ba. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Good enough. That's
We tried.
Right. Instrumentals, you guys.
We tried, everybody.
No vocals.
We tried, guys.
We're not a band. We are American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome to another fun episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Yeah, from a really great, fun episode.
I know our past two episodes have been one-offs. We talked about the Swellers, Light in a Closed Door, and we talked about Frank Turner's England Keep My Bones.
Yes.
But now we're back for a regular episode of the podcast in which I recommend an album for Justin and he does the same for me. So,
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? And we each tried two different beers.
Yes, exactly. Two different beers. Because this wouldn't be American Brews and Tunes without brews.
Yeah, it would just be American Brew and Tunes.
What? If there's no beer, it can't even be one
without
brew.
two, it would be one. I guess.
Oh, gotcha.
I was implying and assuming. You know what they say? Don't imply or don't assume.
Yep, I believe that's the saying.
That is the saying.
Yep, exactly.
Anyways, what have you been listening to for these past few weeks, Jesse?
For these past few weeks, I've been listening to the debut solo album from Ben Folds called Rockin the Suburbs.
Oh, I think I've heard of that album.
Yeah.
At least I hope I have. I recommended it for you. And what have I been listening to, you might ask? I've been listening to a reworked and re-recorded album by the band Carseat Headrest, and the album is called Twin Fantasy, parentheses, Face to Face, end parentheses.
Yep.
I'll delve into what I mean by re-recorded, reworked, whatever you have,
What have you.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that, and we'll touch upon that later.
Yeah, but first, we're going to go to different portion of this. The beer.
What Jesse's trying to say is we're going to go to the other portion of the podcast, separate from music, which naturally must be beer. We're going to talk about the beers that we're trying.
Yes.
So what are you trying this week?
I'm trying a beer from Stone.
Oh, Stone. It's been a while since we've had a Stone beer on the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. This one, I believe this is a new one. It is called Fear, Movie, Lions.
Fear, Movie, Lions. What is it?
Double IPA. An unfiltered double IPA.
Oh, an IPA from Stone. How about that?
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Yeah. There's a lot of text on the back, but it's not worth reading. I tried it. I read it, and it's
not.
It's talking about some of their brewery at Richmond and how there's a space that has 3 words on it, which are Fear, Movie, Lions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this, I believe, came from the Richmond, Virginia brewing location. Am I correct?
Probably. I don't know. It's really hard to read this can.
I'm fairly certain that I'm correct. They started out in Escondido, California, but they opened up a second brewing location in Richmond, Virginia for some strange reason. And actually, recently they moved over to Germany. They have a brewery in Germany somewhere.
They do, yeah.
So it's
exciting times for Stone.
It is. We like Stone, so good for them.
Worldwide.
Yeah, I'm also having an IPA, not a double IPA like you're having, but it's from a brewery called Knee Deep Brewing Co. Have you ever heard of them?
I've heard of Neck Deep, though.
No, that's a band. Well, Knee Deep Brewing Co. I've actually never heard of them either, though I have heard of this beer. It is called Breaking Bud. Bud. It looks like Breaking Bad. If you guys have ever seen the TV show Breaking Bad, the font looks like the BR in Breaking and the BA in Bad. Both look like they're from the periodic table.
BR is,
I don't know,
beryllium.
Is that a BE?
I don't know. But then was BU actually something too?
I don't know. It's beryllium. I thought BR meant bromine.
Bromanium. I think it's bromine.
I have no idea.
I believe it's bromine, bro.
I have no idea. But there's a much easier to read font on the back of this can.
Yeah.
Shall I read it?
Sure, go for it.
It says, "This is a true West Coast IPA.
Oh.
A restrained malt profile of American two-row German wheat And a touch of English crystal gives this beer its golden straw color and allows the hops to shine.
Ooh.
Mosaic, Simcoe, and Columbus hops provide dank aromas and flavors of tropical fruit and pine, leading to a refreshing dry finish.
Ooh.
Curious, huh? Apparently, Knee Deep Brewing is in Auburn, California. I'm not really sure where Auburn is, but it's in the same state as Stone, apparently, I guess.
Someplace in there. Someplace around there, I guess.
I suppose so. Let's see that we...
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this beer.
Okay, go for it.
I'm, of course, reading on the app Untapped. Pretty dope beer app, if you guys are looking for something like that. Anyway, this says that it's an IPA, Imperial/Double, and it says New England style IPAs are all the rage. Fans of Stone repeatedly ask us for our take on that style, which can be met with some criticism. Rooted in West Coast style IPAs for decades, how would we do it? Fear no more. Our brewers took the approach to deliver incredibly hoppy and aromatic flavor while keeping it very balanced. So I guess this is a
Stone's take on the
take
New
on
England
the New England style IPA.
Yeah, I'm curious about
So
that.
that'll
Because
be
I was
really
wondering
fun.
if they were going to have one of those sooner or later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to try this one.
Yeah, let's give these a crack and see what the dealio is.
Alrighty.
We both have
Ooh.
cans today.
We do. No bottles today.
16-ounce cans, so we're not talking little baby cans. We're talking big
get-
boy cans.
Get your baby cans out of here, all you baby can having people.
There's nothing wrong with baby cans. We just don't have them today.
Ooh.
When I say baby cans, I guess I could say the normal size
cans. 12-ounce cans.
12-ounce can.
These are tall boys, I guess is what they call them. A pint in a can.
Quite literally, it's a pint in a can.
Pint in a can.
Mine is quite heady. It's the foam everywhere. I need to let it settle before I pour the
Yeah,
rest of my beer.
mine's just about the same.
How would it's definitely hazy, a little
It's
unfiltered, but
hazier?
not as hazy as some of the New England style IPAs.
No,
that
not
we've
as
had on
hazy
here.
as like Bearded Iris or something like that.
Mine quite literally is straw colored,
Yeah,
just as the back of the can so indicated.
just as it implied.
How's your smell?
Smells delicious.
Mine
I don't
smells
know, kind of normal.
Mine smells like a normal IPA. It doesn't smell
Yeah.
super aggressive as I would expect from some West Coast style IPAs.
No.
But that's okay. I don't mind.
Oh, you're living life on the edge right now.
Yeah, I'm pouring this beer so that the foam is really
Just
about
right
to overflow.
at the top. It's like a muffin. You know, like whenever you bake muffins.
Like the Muffin Man?
Yeah, like the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane.
Yeah.
And then as you're baking them, they pop up over the, what's it called? Container?
The muffin pan?
The muffin pan.
The container?
Yeah, but whenever you guys probably know what I'm talking about, all you people who bake muffins, as it's rising,
A muffin top emerges over the
muffin
top.
emerges. Yeah, that's what your
Yeah,
your beer
the foam did
looks
on
like.
the top, yeah.
Yeah,
But now that my foam has settled a little bit, let's say that we cheers and try.
let's try. Let's do it. Let's try.
Yes, let's.
Cheers and try.
Well, as we always say on American Brews and Tunes, oh, that's
Ooh.
pretty smooth for a what I would gather from a West Coast style IPA. And generally, when I think West Coast style IPA, my benchmark is always the Green Flash West Coast style IPA.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty aggressive West Coast style IPA.
Yeah, that's a pretty good benchmark to have. For
So this
style.
one is more mild than the Green Flash. It's much smoother, but it's still got that hop flavor, and it's actually quite nice and refreshing. How's yours?
It's really tasty.
Good descriptor.
That's what I always start off with.
It's good.
You remember you remember our conversation on one of the previous episodes where I talk about unpacking the basket?
Yeah.
The picnic basket.
Yeah, I remember that long conversation
Yeah.
about picnic baskets and all kind of stuff.
That's what I always.
So why don't you
that's
unpack
what I
that
always-
picnic basket?
That's what I always start off with. Is it's tasty, or it's good. Anyway, beyond that, it you can definitely tell that it is a double IPA. It has that
does it
kind
taste
of,
boozy?
It has that kind of like thick booziness taste to it. But then it's complemented really well with I would say like a nice kind of milder citrus, more closer to like a sweet citrus than a tart citrus. Something more like an orange, less like a lemon.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it's very, very good. You got that nice citrus and that nice pininess that you get from certain hops.
Yeah.
So I think Stone kind of is still sticking to their guns with this one in
Sticking
terms of
to what they do best.
in terms of the flavor profile, but it is thicker and juicier than one of their normal IPAs.
Probably doesn't have like the lactose that Bearded Iris might add to their New England style IPAs.
Yeah, it's less creamy. It's not as creamy as other.
And mine's definitely not creamy at all.
New England style IPAs.
Mine's very smooth, very floral.
Yeah,
pretty nice. I'm happy with
good,
mine.
That's a good thing to have in a West Coast style.
I would hope so.
You want to do a little switch ski?
Hey, let's do a little switch key.
All right.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh, I agree. Yours is much thicker, but yours is way more citrusy, and definitely sweeter than mine.
Yeah.
But mine is
tasty though.
It's not aggressive
Good.
like you would expect.
No.
Mine, right?
No, I would have expected a much more aggressive pine flavor.
Yeah,
in
but
that
no,
West Coast style.
it's pretty crushable for a West Coast style IPA.
True. What's that ringing in at?
It's at like 6.5%, so it's pretty standard.
That's not bad.
Standard ABV. Whereas
50
yours
IBUs.
is what, 8.5%?
8.5% coming in at 60 IBUs, I believe.
Yeah, mine. So it's. I think we got some winners.
Yeah, we did.
Winner.
We do.
Hoppy dinner.
We're the winners because we're winning by trying beers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't argue that.
Can't argue with that logic, can you?
You could, but you don't
You
have much to
don't-
argue
you
with.
don't need to.
Yeah, you don't have much basis.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
how about we? You want to dive into the albums?
Yes.
Sure. Eh?
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the music. I'll let
Yeah,
you go
let's-
first this week, so you can
Okay.
talk about Ben Folds.
All right,
Eh?
sounds good. So yeah, Ben Folds. The album is "Rockin the Suburbs," or as I wrote in my paper, "Rockin the Subs."
The subs.
Suburbs. Anyway, this is his debut studio album, recorded
Solo album, right?
album. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's now with Ben Folds 5, his previous band.
Correct. And do you know why his previous band was called Ben Folds 5? Do you know how many members were in it?
Were there 5 members?
There was 3. They said that they were going with the alliteration Folds 5. They were like, 5
Oh.
sounds way better than Ben Folds 3.
Ben Folds 3. Ben Folds 5.
They're like, that was at least from what I think in my reading, that's what they said.
That's funny.
Yeah. Clever.
Makes sense. I mean, it doesn't, it doesn't have to literally mean that
No,
there are
it's
5 people.
just a name.
It just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was recorded in Adelaide, Australia. I believe that I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, I think he was married to some lady from Australia, so that's probably
Okay.
why.
And it was released on September 11th, 2001.
That's not a good day for an album release.
No, it's
not a good
not.
day for anything.
No, it's not a good day for anything.
And it's dark to speculate, but I wonder if that had much to do with the album sales, or like
Probably.
because that's anything that came out around that time would greatly and rightfully so be overshadowed by the horrible events of September 11th.
Yes. So,
Yeah. So I wonder what was going on in his mind when he's like, "I'm releasing an album today." Oh,
and then,
jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's not good.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
can't
that's
be-
just the
you
way,
can't
way
pick-
it goes.
you can't pick what a terrorist plot's going to happen.
Yep. Exactly.
Yoy.
Anyway, this album is kind of like he is very similar to Prince in terms of that he plays like a lot of the instruments on this album.
Nearly everything.
Yeah.
I think other than some of the string arrangement type
yeah.
instruments, he
Yeah.
plays pretty much every single instrument.
Plays and sings, yeah, piano, keyboard, guitar, bass, drums.
I believe he was a percussion major in college.
Really?
Yeah, I think he graduated, or he dropped out with 1 credit left.
Wow.
I think.
Well, he made an alright decision.
Yeah, he's doing all right for himself, I say.
Yep. Anyway, so this album is great.
I
First
think
of
so
all.
too. I think it's a phenomenal album.
So I'll just start with track number 1, I suppose.
I guess that's a great place to start.
No need to wait.
You should start where we always start, at the beginning.
At the beginning. What was that?
At
What
the old
video?
drop in.
The old drop in.
If you guys ever want to watch a fun video, one of our buddies in college was doing a videography class. Was that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
And he needed to make a fake trailer for a movie, so we pretty much came up with the whole idea for the movie
Yeah.
called Lawrence the Law Lincoln, about a guy who's he's pretty much like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, like Sherlock Holmes, yeah.
And I played Lawrence the Law Lincoln, and you played
And who was I?
the
What was my
assistant,
name?
James Briarhart. 'Cause I was like elementary, my dear Briarhart. We walked around
James
smoking
Briarhart.
pipes.
Oh, it was great.
That was funny.
But that was one of the lines in the trailer.
Yeah, we'll see if we can
Like, where
find that.
should we
in,
start? Where we always start, my dear Briarhart. At the beginning.
So
So terrible.
we'll see if we can find that video on YouTube. We'll put a link to it in our on our page on our website. So go to brewsandtunespodcast.com.
Yeah.
Look up the episode for this, and there's stuff from the episode. You can find the video and all kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll let you start at the beginning.
Anyway, track number 1 is called Annie Waits. I gave this song 4.5 out of 5 and recommended it.
Oh, okay.
It's a how do I want to say this? It gives a good sense of his writing style, like lyrically and musically.
Yeah, poppy
in this song.
hooky.
Very poppy, very catchy, very hooky. And
Piano driven. No, not everything's piano driven.
not everything is, but
most
of the stuff on this album is driven by the piano. Yeah. Piano just hops into the driver's seat of the vehicle that is this album and pushes the acceleration, puts it into first and eventually into second, and just goes.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot more instrumentation on this album than his previous efforts with Ben Folds 5.
Yeah.
Ben Folds 5 was him on piano, a bass player, and a drummer. That was it.
Oh, really?
So on this album, there's guitars, there's all kinds of different stuff.
Strings.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, Annie Waits.
This song, I believe it's about like seizing the day and like not waiting around. Mm-hmm. One of the lines is the clock never waits. Mm-hmm. And then the hook is, what is it? And Annie waits for a sign. Anyway, I think it's a great song.
It is a great
it's
song.
Fantastic.
I like that song
and
a lot.
it kind of sets the tone for the entire album very well. Next song is track number 2. Well, next track is track number 2.
Yes,
it's called Zach and Sarah.
Zach
and Sarah.
Zach without a C.
Zach without a C and Sarah without an H.
Yeah.
I wonder if Jimmy Fallon's Sarah with no H because H's are U.
I don't know.
That's one of his sketches.
I have no idea what that sketch is. Oh, the gross?
Yeah.
Gross.
What? No. Ew.
Gross.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just can't do it well. Sarah with no H in that as well.
This song starts off with awesome piano.
Yeah, it does.
That's got to be a finger exercise playing that piano part.
I would think so.
Seems tiring. Even just listening to him, I get exhausted.
I'm sure he's well practiced, though.
I think so. He's a professional.
I gave the song 4 to 5 and an honorable mention.
Good choice. So catchy.
Mm-hmm.
This is so catchy.
It's basically just a story about Zach and Sarah.
Yeah, going and playing instruments.
Yep. Sitting on a PV amp in the 80s.
Yeah. 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Zach without a C tried out some new guitars. Playing Sarah with no H's favorite song. La da 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 da. So catchy.
Zach and Sarah.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's a weird electric part, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, there are a lot of kind of parts like that where you don't really expect it, and you're like, oh, this is from 2001.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, track number 3 is my next recommendation. I gave it 5 out of 5. And it's called Still Fighting It.
And we're still fighting it. We're still fighting it. That's a good one.
Very good song. One of the lyrics that kind of describes the purpose of the song or the meaning is, I think it's just the chorus. And everybody knows it hurts to grow up. Everybody does. Mm-hmm. So, and then it goes into the... Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really good song.
And then that leads into the chorus, which is "We're still fighting it."
Mm-hmm.
So
still trying to
the
stay
idea
young.
of fighting getting old and how getting old sucks.
Yeah,
getting older does suck.
Yeah, but it happens to everyone. It's inevitable.
We're by no means
youngsters, but
old.
We're not old.
Yeah,
we're in the middle
phase.
Like
in the weird middle part.
We're not middle aged though.
No, like in that, like the Menzingers album After the Party.
Yeah.
We're almost there, not quite there
We're
yet.
still in the party. We're not after the party yet.
Yeah.
We haven't reviewed that album yet, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. Okay, yeah. So we reviewed that Menzingers album After the Party, which talks about getting out of your 20s and into your 30s.
Yeah.
But back to Ben Folds.
Anyway, so that's why I really like this song a lot, because it, I don't know, accurately describes a feeling that's hard to describe.
Yeah, but everyone probably feels it at some point in time.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, the next song is called "Gone." And it's track number 4.
This is the one that goes do 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 do. Ooh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's got that weird bouncy, like almost a bouncy feel to the song.
It's in 6/8, I guess.
Thought you were. That's a catchy song too.
Yeah, it is a good song. I gave it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Song about failed relationship and like the aftermath.
Yeah.
It's good though. I like it. On to track number 5, called Fred Jones, Part 2.
And I believe the part 1 is from a Ben Folds 5 song
Oh, really?
about a character named Fred Jones,
Named
and this
Fred
kind of
Jones.
chronicles him later in life.
Yeah. I gave it 4 out of 5, and it's another honorable mention.
That's fine.
Because
You
there's
can
so many-
honorably mention as many songs as you want.
Well, I'd like to honorably mention all of them.
Well,
Anyway,
it's kind of a sad song.
it is a sad song, but it's a good song though. It's there. You know how there are some things that are sad, but you realize that they're good at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what this song is basically. It's the story about Fred either retiring or getting fired from his job at the paper.
I think either way you could.
Either
way
retiring
would
or being
work, yeah.
fired. I'm not really sure because the song he said he talks about a guy
Used to
being
work.
there to escort him out of the building.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just retiring or maybe they're firing him. I don't know.
Either way, it's not.
But either way, it's I feel like this is a song about finding meaning in life and like not having any regrets when you're older.
Because I think this guy has regrets.
Yeah, he definitely
Big
does.
time.
Definitely does have regrets.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Ben chronicles that in this song.
yeah. All of his lyrics are very well thought out, especially in this song. Well, in all the songs, really.
Yeah, it's almost got that folky feel where it's like tells a story like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically,
Without being an actual folk song, of course.
yeah. So basically, it is about finding meaning in life, and in Fred's case, Fred Jones'
YOLO.
case,
Fred Jones never said YOLO.
he probably didn't know.
He said responsibility.
Yep. When did YOLO start becoming a thing?
I don't know.
Do you remember when that started?
Like after 2010, like maybe 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. YOLO.
It's weird.
I think some songs started saying YOLO.
Really?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Anyway, this
anyway.
this song kind of has the same message as Frank Turner's Photosynthesis, said in a very different way. It kind of delves into the topic of that regret of having worked in some place for 25 years and then there's no party thrown for you whenever you leave.
Did you waste your life?
Yeah, like there's no songs sung on that day or anything like that. No
Yeah.
one's celebrating you, and so then where's your meaning?
Poor Fred Jones.
Yeah, poor
You
Fred
know what
Jones.
it reminds me of, even though it's not actually at all related? Is that Counting Crow song? Mr. Jones and me. Sha la 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 la. Little Dreads.
What?
That's what the singer from Counting Crows had, Little Dreads.
He had little dreads?
Yeah, and he danced around, Mr. Jones.
That's ridiculous.
It's nothing
I've
to do.
never heard that song.
What?
I don't think so anyway.
I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. What a song.
Anyway,
Yeah,
back to the album.
Let's ascend.
Track number 6 is called The Ascent of Stan. I guess this song 3.5 out of 5. This is the portion of the album where I'm like, oh, these songs are pretty good. Like over the next 3 songs, they're like,
yeah.
oh, that's pretty good, but
I think this one's better than the other two to follow.
Yeah, same.
Again, I think it's got a crazy piano part at the beginning of the song,
Yeah.
almost like a study type.
Yeah. Yeah.
This song's about growing up too.
Yeah, The Ascent of Stan.
Stan used
It's
to be a
about
hippie,
Stan,
who's now the
textbook
man.
hippie, and now he's the man.
Yeah.
In terms
So
of
he became
like,
everything he hated.
in terms of like the industry,
Yeah,
the man,
fighting the man. Now he is the man.
businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I guess dealing with like losing your youthfulness and getting into a system that brings you down.
Yeah.
So I like it. It's good. I'm gonna kind of go over these next two fairly quickly.
Go for it.
Track number 7 is called "Losing Lisa."
It's not a bad one.
It's a good song. Very much a good song.
Catchy chorus, but it's usually one that doesn't do too terribly much for me.
Yeah, same here. On to track number 8, which is called "Carrying Kathy." This is another sad song.
Yeah. It's a little slower. Well, definitely a lot slower than the last one.
Yeah, a little slower, and it's about depression, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character, Kathy, and she was dealing with depression, and her boyfriend, who Ben Folds plays, I guess, doesn't really realize it. until it's too late or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she eventually, they're carrying her casket, carrying Kathy's casket at the end of the song. And then I think someone says like, it's always been this way, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good song. It's not my favorite, but it's dealing with a pretty good heavy topic.
I'd say so. I certainly would say so.
Would you?
Maybe.
Anyway, track number 9. Almost looked like a 7 there for a second. Track number 9 is called "Not the Same."
It's a crazy song too.
Yeah,
based on a real story, I believe.
Yeah, based on a true story about one of his friends taking LSD, climbing up into a tree, and then staying there the whole night. And then the next morning it came down, and he was a born-again believer in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And how weird that was.
It's because they were out at a party and it was crazy.
Yeah.
What a strange story.
Yeah, it's true though.
Turned into an interesting song.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a cool song.
Good song. Very good song.
I do like that song.
On to my last recommendation, track number 10. It's called "Rockin the Suburbs."
Oh, a title track. Wow.
Title track.
Title track.
Anyway, great song. And I kind of feel like this is the outlier on the album.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
this is like the only one that has an electric guitar that's like really distorted and really
I think
overdriven.
there's one other song that has some overdriven guitars.
Yeah.
On Gone, I think there is, but
Yeah.
But this one it's very prominent, and I think the sound of this song was very intentional.
Yeah,
It's a parody of pop music. This whole song is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a parody of like pop music that's made to talk about. Well, I'll let you get into it.
Yeah. I mean, the idea is that he's rocking the suburbs.
He's from the suburbs, and
Just
so
like-
he knows about all the hardships and problems.
Hardships of being a male, middle class, and white.
So he can market those hardships to everyone.
Yeah, to everybody else.
He's making fun of a lot of pop music at the time.
Yeah.
This
And,
is the song that got me into Ben Folds. It's
really?
the first song I ever heard by him, yeah.
Nice.
Long ago.
Long,
A galaxy
long
far,
ago.
far away. Actually, it was relatively... I mean, I was probably like in middle school, so it wasn't like a long, long time ago. It was many years, but it was in the exact same galaxy, I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
These or maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe multiple dimensions exist.
Maybe.
Or, I mean, multiple
How would I
worlds.
know? Maybe this is Inception, which is not really dealing with galaxies, more dreamlike, but who
Have
knows?
you heard of the simulation theory?
No, I've never heard this in my entire life. We're all inside of a simulation,
Yeah.
just like on that one episode of Rick and Morty, where they were in a simulation simulating a simulation.
Something like that, yeah.
It was crazy.
Where I think the basic idea is that this is like our virtual reality
Yeah.
is what we're living right now, and then whenever we die, we wake up in some other dimension. They're like,
Like
well,
the Matrix?
Yeah, like, well, how'd you like it? Like, did you like the game?
Sure.
And then you're like, what?
What game?
Yeah.
Just like the Matrix, but
Yeah.
without robots. Man.
Anyway,
Back to the title track.
yeah, back to the title track. So yeah, it's this idea of commercialization of music,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Super catchy. That piano part.
Yeah.
It's like when he talks about some producer with computers fixes all my
Poopy tracks.
poopy tracks.
Yep.
Yeah. Crappy tracks.
Yep.
It's
That's
just,
great.
it's just funny.
And then, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense now because there's a part later in the song where he's like, "Y'all don't know what it's like being male, middle class, and white."
Do you know who he's making fun of there a little bit?
No.
I am fairly certain he's making fun of Rage Against the Machine there because
Oh, because
you
of
listen
the way.
to how I think his name's Zach Delaroche. I think that's his last name. From Rage Against the Machine, the singer, he kind of sings in that style, so Ben Folds is definitely parodying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's interesting. It's a
That's
good
goofy.
song.
Y'all don't know what it's like.
Being male, middle class, and white makes me want to say,
They
F.
screams the F word real loud.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Anyway.
he screams the F word anywhere else on this album.
Yeah, and the next song.
Oh, do tell.
The next song is called "Fired."
That's an F word too. Oh man.
That's a good point, friend.
Oh,
Another F word.
you don't mean foe?
No, I mean friend.
Hee 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 hee.
Have you ever picked a flower?
For sure.
Well, later you can follow me down to the field where we can pick flowers.
Forget that.
Anyway,
Fired. I think fired might be...
There's so many F words in the
There's-
world that
but,
exist.
He says the actual F word at the end of the song. But
Yeah,
this
he
song
says-
actually might be
says,
my favorite.
Mother.
This might be
That
my favorite
one.
song. It's so catchy.
It is. It is very good.
And he's got that palm muted bass.
Yeah. Yeah, the song's super, super good.
Super catchy.
Love it.
Don't really know what it's about. Just people who
It's
are
about
like, getting
people-
angry and firing everyone.
About people. I think it's basically about people who like are very confident, but in a bad way.
Yeah, uptight.
Like they walk into the room and they're like, "I'm the best," or
It's
something like that.
I hear them talking behind my back. Hear it all through these thin walls. You're fired.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone here is fired.
Anyway, on to my last recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honorable mention. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a song called "The Luckiest," track number 12.
It's one of his
love
biggest songs.
Yeah, it's a love song.
Mm-hmm.
This will be. I'm guessing that a lot of people have used this as their first dance song at a wedding.
I've never heard it as a first dance song, but I went to my cousin Michelle's wedding, and before they proceeded down the aisle, there was a piano player in the front of the room just playing certain songs and actually singing them too, and this was one of the ones she sang.
I could see that.
Yeah. And
Very good
I was
song.
like, they're playing Ben Folds at a wedding. This is great.
This is great. The basic idea is that expressing what love is very difficult, and this song kind of does it.
I just like the one line, and it might be the second verse, is like, what if I would have been 100 years or 50 years before?
Yeah.
He's like, and I saw you on a bike down the street, would I know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it, just really
So-
cool. And the chorus is a slight play on Pachelbel's Canon, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if it's intentional, but it's there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Ben Folds is a very smart guy.
Yeah, he is. I watched this one video where he basically improvised a piece with like an orchestra, like with a string orchestra.
Yeah, he did. He just
He
did
was
it
like,
live,
he was like,
right?
all right, yeah. He was like,
You
all
guys
right,
do this?
you guys play this, and they played it on the piano,
Mhm.
and then
I saw
all
him live at the Ryman once, and he had it was him on piano, and he had a small ensemble of orchestral instruments. It was really cool.
that. Nice.
Really cool. He's a great performer.
Yeah, great performer, great musician.
He writes
Very,
really
very good
stuff.
songwriter.
Yeah. He's just so funny because he writes these like super happy, like poppy songs. Subject matter is usually really, really solid, but then like he throws in these random cuss words. You're like, whoa, that's not radio friendly.
Yep.
It's so funny.
Yep.
Anyways, moving on to my album,
Mm-hmm.
which again, for those of you who don't remember, is Twin Fantasy (parentheses Face to Face) by the band Carseat Headrest.
Yes.
It's a recent album. It came out earlier this year, February of 2018.
Yep.
And it is a reworking and re-recording of the original album Twin Fantasy, which was released in 2011.
Okay.
So it's 7 years after the first, they decided to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
They rewrote some of the music. They changed the words. Just kind of like
It's
that.
interesting.
Yeah, the whole album is a concept album about one specific relationship and the difficulties, demise, and looking back on
Yep.
that relationship.
Yep.
As a band, Carseat Headrest started as a solo project in 2010 by Will Toledo.
I'm assuming he's the main singer.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And he recorded and released his own stuff independently on Bandcamp. And apparently the name Carseat Headrest came because he was too nervous, I think, about recording vocals, so he went into his car to record it.
Really?
The vocals, yeah. So it came from
Weird.
there. Yeah. Anyhow, it's an interesting album. Him in
I think
general,
it's
Will
really
Toledo, his voice is kind of got a lazy feel to it. It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of Beck.
Yeah.
And some of the songs actually remind me of Beck.
Really?
Yes. I don't know which Beck songs, but just from what
Just in general?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
For fans of Beck or for fans of Carseat Headrest, I'm not trying to offend anyone. That's just what it reminds me of. So
Yeah.
sorry if if you guys don't like that. This album's only 10 songs long, but it's over 71 minutes in length.
Yep.
He really, 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 really stretches out songs.
Yes, he does.
A bit too much for my taste.
They have breakdowns, and sometimes
They
they
have
don't have
breakdowns.
breakdowns.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just have monologues.
Yeah.
All kinds of weird stuff happens. But
Yes.
it's a very unique aesthetic. I'll say that.
One that I'm very partial to. I really like it.
Me, not so much. But I can appreciate a lot of the stuff in this album.
Yeah.
Let's delve in, shall we? Track
Yes.
number 1 is called My Boy, parentheses, Twin Fantasy. I gave this a rating of a Hyundai Elantra. Which, it's pretty reliable. It's solid. It'll last you a long time.
Yeah.
He repeats the line, "My boy, we don't see each other much." My boy, we don't see each other much. And his boy is about his lover.
Yeah.
Will is a gay man, but he is talking about his relationship with this person who you come to learn is a distant relationship. So they are separated.
Yeah.
And as we'll see later, that causes some difficulties.
Yeah.
But anyways, he talks about how he's hopeful that they won't be alone.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
And he's looking forward to when they're not alone. They'll be together.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 2, which is called Beach Life and Death. I gave this an honorable mention, and I gave it a rating of... Yes, I gave it a rating of Honda Civic. It's the car that I have.
Honda Civic.
I quite like.
Wow. You said you honorable mentioned that one?
I did.
Wow, really long song.
I honorably mentioned it and didn't recommend it because it's over 13 minutes long.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, 13 minutes. Chop that up, man. Chop it up.
Jeez Louise.
Put it into 2 songs, maybe 3. But anyways, it starts off with him making some weird noises.
It's like he's opening a drink and then drinking it a little bit.
I actually don't like that. I hear him like... I was like...
It's basically just like...
It's like... And he was like...
Yeah.
And I hear that, I'm like, step away from the microphone, sir. Anyways.
Go to Harper's Ferry and I thought about you.
Yeah, it's... This, which we'll come to find out in other songs, is very much like a stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And he does that a lot. Kind of to convey his... I'm assuming that's what goes through his mind, and like when he's like trying to think of things, that's how his mind works.
Yeah.
Is like... just keeps going about random things.
Like,
but it's usually related.
I believe there's stream of consciousness writing, too. Where, like, people write books like that.
Oh, yeah, people...
Where there's, like,
a lot of times people keep
no
journals that are like that,
or
yeah.
periods or
And that's what this
paragraphs.
sounds like.
Yeah.
There's so many themes in this song. Like, so many different things. Like, he talks about the relationship, obviously, that the whole album's about. His depression, anxiety, his overall uneasiness, and so much more. There's one line where he talks about coming out to his friends on Skype.
Yeah.
But then he, like, it gets really worried that they're gonna, like, what they're gonna think, so he just pretends to be drunk and that it's a joke. And you're like, oh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of things he unleashes during this song. It's the first time that he says the line, "The ocean washed away your grave."
Yep.
He repeats that a lot in this song, and that line comes back at least once, maybe more in the other songs in this album.
Yeah.
And that, in general, is a foreshadow to the ultimate demise of the relationship.
Yeah.
Like let's say the relationship's in a grave now; it's dead or buried, whatever.
Yeah.
But the ocean's washing it away, so he has to keep seeing it and revisiting it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because he wants to, or maybe because he's recording the stuff that he's revisiting it. Who knows? But he's reflecting on it, so he can't stop.
Can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
About it.
Let's move on to track number 3, shall we?
We shall.
All right. So this song is called "Stop Smoking." In parentheses, we love you. I gave this a rating of Volkswagen Beetle because it's an interesting car.
The oldest one. The older ones.
We'll go with the remodeled ones, which are kind of like the older ones.
Okay.
Not the ones.
Not the super round one that always have
the one that's a little bit more stretched out.
Yeah. Not eyelids.
The ones that are a little flatter looking,
Yeah.
because they're a little better.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so this song is literally about what the title says.
Yeah.
It's about, I'm assuming, his lover who smokes and he doesn't want him to smoke.
Yeah.
So he says, "Stop smoking, we love you," and then he repeats, "We don't want you to die."
Stop smoking, we love you. Stop smoking, we love you.
Harmonies were terrible.
Stop smoking, we love you.
But that theme comes back in
Later
a song
on.
later called "High to Death." I'll touch upon that later, though.
Yeah.
It almost seems like he's like you're trying to change someone for the better, but
Yeah.
we'll see if you can change someone or if you can't.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 4, which is called "Sober to Death."
Nice.
And this song's called "Sober to Death," and if you just remember, but like a minute ago, I said there's a song later called "High to Death."
Yep.
So
these are kind of...
it's very intentional, the titles of the tracks.
Yeah.
I gave this a rating of Toyota Prius. Everyone's got their opinions about Priuses.
Which one is this? This is the
This is
one that's like kind of almost like a swing vibe to it.
kind of a little bit, I guess. I don't know. It's slower. It's a lot slower, but it doesn't do too much for me. The chorus is catchy, but that doesn't do too much for me either.
Okay.
And it's definitely about a distant relationship and how he can't like give comfort to him being so far away. Like when someone's having like problems or like anxiety, he can't be there to comfort him, you know? But he kind of ends the song by saying, "Don't worry, you and me, we won't be alone." Or
won't be alone.
Don't worry, you and me won't be alone no more. So that's again that hopeful theme that happened in the first song. But when he does that, there's some weird shifts. It almost sounds like the key signature is shifting a little bit.
That's the time signature that's shifting.
The time signature. That's what I meant to say. Time signature.
It goes between
triple
4/4 and
a double meter.
Yeah, a double meter and a triple meter.
And I thought that was a really cool touch.
Yeah,
very, very intentionally
cool.
writing. Moving on to track number 5, which is called Nervous Young Inhumans. I gave this a rating of Subaru WRX. Cool car. And I gave it a
cool
recommendation.
Oh, there you go.
Nice. I like the feeling during the verses in this song. It really reminds me of Beck. I told you that I was going to say that again, and I will again.
Yeah.
But there's an instrumental intro that's really cool, and it kind of comes back after the chorus, which I think is my favorite part, is the instrumental part. But the chorus, it's okay. It's not my favorite part. I really like the verses, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after about 3 minutes, there's a spoken monologue that I don't really care for. It's super stream of consciousness, just him like pondering and like wondering life. Like all kind of wonderings.
Is this one where he's
is
like...
Is this thing on? He says that a couple times? Yeah. It's just him like wondering and like thinking about like what's love, what's life.
Yeah.
It's interesting to listen to, but I was like, for me, I'd rather have that in a journal and read it and not hear it as the song.
Yeah.
Some people might love it. Like I know you're partial to it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock it. It's just not my aesthetic.
Yeah.
To each his own, you know.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever slims your flame.
Inhumans, though, he uses that reference a couple times.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's referencing how he feels as
not human or lesser than, or his bad side maybe.
Yeah.
But it definitely comes back in other times.
Yeah.
Let's move on to track number 6. It's called Bodies. I gave it a Lamborghini Murcielago. Cream of the crop. I recommended this. It's probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, definitely is mine.
Arguably the catchiest song of the album.
I think so.
Objectively,
arguably, yeah.
I'd say it's probably the catchiest, even though it's a subjective thing.
Yeah.
He has some really funny lines that he says in this song. And it gets meta in the first verse.
Yeah.
He says, when he's like referring to the song itself almost, he says, "Is this the chorus yet? No. It's just the building of the verse, so when the chorus comes, it'll be more rewarding."
Yeah, so it's like breaking the fourth wall in a song.
Like saying, I'm going to just keep building the verse so that when we get to the chorus, it'll be best. And then later, it's either the next verse or a continuation of the verse, he says, "Well, so what? We're young, we're thin, most of us. We're alive, most of us." I'm like, that's funny. Like, alive, like truly living. Because the song is about regret and YOLO, essentially.
Yeah.
And as soon as he says we're alive, most of us, it gets to the chorus where he says, "Don't you realize our bodies could fall apart at any second?" Saying like everything's temporal and finite.
Don't you realize
it's just so
our
like
bodies could fall apart.
it is catchy.
That was bad.
But it's not exactly the exact theme of some of those regretful songs on Ben Folds, but just
same general idea.
Same general, like not specifically, but same general idea.
Yeah. This was a song that I first heard that made me listen to the album.
It's I don't know if it was pushed as a solo, or I mean as a single, but if I was to listen to this album, I would pick this as a single because it most of these songs did not strike me at first. It took me many listens to get into it.
Yeah.
But this song right off the bat is one that you're like, oh, this is catchy. I like it.
Yeah. They performed on Jimmy Fallon.
Was this the one they did?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And they only have a certain amount of time on live TV.
So you can't play a 16-minute song.
They had to speed it up.
Yeah.
And there was one point in the song where they did that same thing, and they're like, and he says, "Normally we do a breakdown here, but since this is live television and we only have 50 seconds left, we're just going to go straight back into the chorus."
From what I've heard, this is a very big side step from what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't think he started touring until like 2015, so like years after his stuff started getting popular.
Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting, huh?
Makes sense.
Let's move on to the next song, which is called Cute Thing.
Cute Thing.
I gave this a rating of Ford Mustang GT, and it's my last recommendation.
All right. Makes sense.
The verses, there's a really weird chord progression that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's weird. But then when it gets to the chorus, it's super catchy. It's that cute thing, don't be a rude thing.
Yeah.
I didn't do it justice at all, but it's really cool. And later on, when he does the chorus later, he echoes his lines, and it's just really catchy.
Yeah.
This song is about the physical nature of love. It's pretty on the nose about it too. I think he's talking about how he's like wants to be, like he's like, I'm sorry I was so romantic. Like that's like the first line, and it comes back later.
Oh yeah, that's the song.
Yeah. And he even talks about lighting a cigarette for him. Right?
Yeah, there's the song where it comes back and he says,
not yet, but he only says, "I'll light your cigarette." That's the only
light your
reference.
cigarette,
It comes back later in the next song, but this alludes to it. So he's talking about that. But after the second chorus and like almost a post-chorus part, there's a I don't want to call it a breakdown, but like the guitars come in and it's almost like a rager, and it's really cool, like down 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 down, and then all of a sudden it cuts out and he says do 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 bum da da bum 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 do 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 do.
Yeah.
And that's I don't find myself singing along to most of this album, but that's something I can sing along to. There's a bunch of super random references to They Might Be Giants on this song. Do you know that?
Really?
He talks about like accidentally using his name because he doesn't use his lover's name, the guy's name.
Yeah.
He just says you a lot, but he says I accidentally used your name. It fit perfectly to Anna, and Anna. It's spelled Ng. Nung.
Yeah.
I can't hear. It's a song by They Might Be Giants. It's a big popular song. And later on, he even uses the name of one of the singers from They Might Be Giants, like saying
really?
if I was John Linnell or whatever the guy's name is. But every time I hear that, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know if you ever heard that song. Make
I don't
a
think
hole
so.
with a gun perpendicular.
You've probably played it for me before.
Probably. If it's one of They Might Be Giants' most popular songs, you probably would recognize it. Let's move on to track number 8. This song is called High to Death. I gave this a rating of Ford Focus.
Ford Focus.
Musically, it's not my favorite, but I like it lyrically and thematically.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much going to be what I'm going to say about the next two songs as well.
Yeah.
This is the big tone shift for the album.
Yes.
This is where everything kind of changes. This song is less hopeful and more desperate than everything that's happened before.
Yeah.
And I said it before, but this refers back to the third song, "Stop Smoking, We Love You."
Yeah.
And he says, "Keep smoking, I love you."
Yeah.
But he says, "But I don't want to die," and he repeats that, "I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die." And it's that part's really catchy,
Keep
but
smoking,
it's
I love
it's
you.
great.
Yeah.
But like he kind of realizes he can't change someone, so he's trying to like he's like, don't let that be the reason like our relationship fails. Keep smoking. That's what I hear out of it.
Yeah.
I read some other analysis of it, and there some people had some different
Opinions about it.
but I think it's him starting to get worried that him trying to change the other guy is starting to ruin the relationship, and he's panicking a little bit. Like, keep smoking, I love you, keep smoking, but I don't want to die.
Yeah.
The beginning of the song, he talks about references his experiences with weed, with marijuana, because he can't handle it.
Yeah.
He doesn't do well with it, so that's him talking about it. And this song is more sad, I would say. Everything, like, there's been some sad references in the other songs, but nothing like melancholy or like
This is the opposite
depressing
side of the arc.
Yeah, so this is where the
arc of the whole album.
relationship starts to go downhill.
Yeah, this is the down portion of the arc.
The outro is a recorded monologue from some girl calling to like a college or something about her art.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not really entirely sure what it is, but I don't care for it. Call me daft, call me simple. I don't know.
Whenever I recommended this album for you, I was like, I don't think Steve's gonna like these like spoken word parts.
I'm sure they're definitely. I don't think he's put anything on here by accident.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate it. Just I don't choose to listen. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Really, it's not my aesthetic. Doesn't mean that it's not good. Let's move on to track number 9, which is called "Famous Prophets" (parentheses stars).
Mm-hmm.
I gave this a rating of Geo Metro, which is a really crappy car. Like, you buy them new at a price of a used car, pretty much.
Hey man, I like Geo Metros.
Oh yeah, everyone likes something.
No.
You know, there's a car for everybody, and there's a song for everybody.
Yeah.
This song is over 16 minutes long.
Yep.
Come on, man. Listen, quite literally, there are 3 shifts in sound.
Yeah.
This should be 3 songs.
You could argue that it should be 4 songs.
It could be. He wanted to have it 1 song for one reason or another. And actually, the version on the original album, I believe, was only like 14 minutes long, maybe. So it's
really?
longer than that one. I know they've added something.
instrumentals.
It's asking a lot for your listeners to sit through 16 minutes of music. I mean, you could argue that you're going to listen to 16 musics over the course of 3 to 4 songs or 1 song, so what difference does it make? But it does make a difference, I think. I have to really be invested to want to sit down for 16 minutes and listen to 1 song.
I could see an argument for both.
I could too, but I'm just giving you my argument right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's bad, it's just what I think. You know, everyone's got their own opinions.
Yeah, I guess I'm more okay with it because I've for a while have stuck to the philosophy or way of thinking that I have to listen to a whole album straight through.
I like that philosophy.
I can't pick and choose. So I think it seems that maybe I'm more used to sitting through an entire album, so I'm not as reluctant to sit through a 16-minute song.
When I sit through an entire album, it's something that I really like and that I'm really intentional about sitting down to. That's my view on it. And so if it's something that it's not my favorite thing in the world, it's going to be difficult for me.
Yeah. True.
But I'm just being a party pooper.
Every party has a pooper.
That's why we invited me, Steven Johnston, a party pooper.
I always thought it was every party has a pooper and the pooper is you.
Oh, I was singing the song from Father the Bride, sung by Martin Short. He says, every party has a pooper, that's why we invited you, Georgia Bonks, a party pooper. His name's George Banks, but they keep calling him Georgia Bonks.
Georgia Bonks.
Georgia Bonks. What a great movie. I love Martin Short. Anyways, back to the song.
Great,
the 16-minute long song. It starts with him like sounding like the relationship's pretty much over. Like he's like apologies to future you and
future
me.
me's and
me's
you's.
And you's. But he's definitely sounding like the relationship's over. And he sounds guilty, like it's his fault. He sounds apologetic almost. It's really interesting, his sound.
Yeah.
His demeanor in the song. Not even timbre. His timbre is pretty similar, I think. But,
okay. Gotcha.
He definitely sounds like he's taking the blame. Much later in the song, the ocean washed over your grave comes back.
Yeah.
So he's again referring to that. And just like the last song, it's really somber and desperate sounding. It's really, really a sad song when you look at all the lyrics and how he's kind of reflecting on it.
Yeah.
He's definitely looking back over the relationship, not happy about it.
Like in a regretful way?
Yeah. He does make some interesting choices near the end of the song. Twice there are references to 1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah.
That's that love passage most people have read at their wedding. Love is patient, love is kind. But he has more than just that. He's got a little earlier and it goes on for a while. But he reads parts of he sings parts of it, and then later there's a monologue where I think a lady actually reads it off verbatim from the actual Bible verse. Yeah. It's an interesting choice where he's kind of analyzing love, and maybe it's not what the Bible says it is, or maybe it's not the traditional thought, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that the next song starts off with a church organ.
Yeah.
You know? Moving on to track number 10, the last track, it's called Twin Fantasy, Those Boys. I give it a rating of Smart Car. I don't like smart cars. But that's an interesting title, isn't it?
It's another long one.
It's got to be a reference to the first song, which is My Boy, parentheses, Twin Fantasy. So you kind of flip them a little bit and change it.
And this is Twin Fantasies, Those Boys.
Definitely referring to that first song title-wise. And this song actually takes a little bit of a different feel from the last 2 songs. And the hope kind of comes back a little bit. He's reflecting back on the relationship, and he wants it to be happy memories. Like, he wants to, think that the things aren't bad. Like there's definitely good things to look back on, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
And he uses the imagery of the sun. He says, I haven't looked at the sun for so long, I'd forgotten how much it hurt to. And so I think that's him like wanting to look back on some of the things, but it's difficult. It hurts. So it's
interesting.
But there's definitely positive elements to that song.
Yeah.
But musically, I don't really care for the last 3 songs. Lyrically, I think he did a really splendid job at putting everything together.
Yeah.
All in all, it's a really solid, cohesive album. Yeah. Super effort on this guy's part, Will Toledo. He was very intentional with all of his writings. He's a gifted writer. He's a very gifted writer. He writes good music. He adds a lot of elements that I don't care for particularly, but I don't have to like it. I don't have to I mean, clearly he's got a lot of fans. I'm not like me.
Yeah.
Not being the number one fan is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Having said that, I do like it. There are some songs that I really like Bodies. I'm gonna probably download a couple of these songs, have them on my iPod and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I can really appreciate it. I think lyrically, thematically, it's a great album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
good.
not disappointed that I listened to it.
Oh, nice.
I would have not ever listened to it otherwise.
Yeah.
They're coming through Nashville this later this summer at the Live on the Green, so maybe we'll catch them. Who knows?
You're gonna be here that week?
I don't know which week they're playing.
Oh, you're
All
gonna,
I know is
be gone for Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, Jimmy Eat World's playing for free in Nashville, and I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for that. Boo.
Boo.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's what it is. Any last thoughts on these brews?
My beer has been solid the whole way through. It hasn't really changed flavor-wise for me. Just been really good.
Same here. I'd say it's a same type of thing for me. It's a still good. You can definitely tell that it's unfiltered now.
Yeah, yours
You can
is
see
super
all the
hazy. Like,
sediment.
if I hold my beer up compared to yours, mine's see-through.
Yeah.
Great and see-through. Yours is
And I
not.
can see little dots,
Yeah.
little bits of sediment in there.
Good beers, though. But before
Yeah.
we finish them, shall we do recommendations for our next regular episode? I know that next week we're going to do another one-off, as per usual. I believe we're doing a one-off by the band The Weakerthans.
Yes.
An album yet to be determined, but we'll figure that out before then.
TBD.
Hopefully we figure it out before then. But for the next regular episode, do you have a recommendation?
I do.
Why don't you recommend first?
Okay. I'm going to recommend the album Surrounded by Richard Buckner.
Richard Buckner. I believe you were talking about him earlier. He's a folk
Yeah,
artist.
he's a folk artist.
How
yeah.
did you hear about him again?
In that one Bon Iver interview,
Oh, that's right. Bon Iver references that all of his
he did
albums
a
are
press
great.
conference, and he was like, Richard Buckner is... I can't do an impression of Bon Iver. Or I guess just say Justin Vernon, right?
Justin Vernon,
His
yeah.
name. He's like, but Richard Buckner is one of the very few artists where I believe all of his albums are perfect. Or something like that. So I was like, maybe I should check him out.
Interesting.
And so I just looked up Richard Buckner and figured out what his most recent album was.
And
And,
you
it's
listened to it?
Surrounded.
Okay,
Yep.
fair enough. I'll give that a listen.
It's only 9 songs, Steve, and the longest song is 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, I can handle 5 minutes and 40 seconds. All right, for you, I'm gonna recommend a Sum 41 album.
Okay.
It's gonna be a choice though. Are you? Would you
interesting.
rather listen to like pop punk, skate punk, or would you rather listen to a little heavier
Pop punk.
pop punk?
Skate
All right,
punk,
we're gonna
yeah.
go with their breakthrough album, All Killer, No Filler.
Oh, nice.
You definitely know 2 songs on there. Fat
Okay.
Lip and In Too Deep are on there.
Cause I'm in too deep
Mhm.
and I'm trying to keep the
And you know Fat
instead
Lip,
of
right?
going under.
I don't want to waste
My
my
time.
time. Yeah, so
You
you.
become another tragedy of society.
I don't want to say that eventually you're going to recommend those 2 songs, but I won't be surprised. They're great songs, but it's a really good album.
Yeah.
All right. So
In Too Deep was on Cheaper by the Dozen.
yeah, I know it's so random, isn't
I know.
it?
Whenever I first watched that movie, I had no idea. Sum 41, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know who Sum 41 was.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that song and I was like, wow, this is a good song. Who's this by?
Who is this by?
But we didn't have the internet back in those days.
Yeah.
Well, people probably did, but
I
I
think-
never used it then.
I did have the internet then because I remember I heard.
When did Cheaper by the Dozen come out?
I don't know,
Steve
early
Martin in it.
2000s maybe,
Let me
probably
see.
the early 2000s. But I remember listening to Sum 41. I heard that song on Fuse TV, I think it was,
Really?
and I was like, Sum 41, who is this? And so I looked it up on the interwebs, and I was like, this is great.
Cheaper by the Dozen came out in 2003.
2003,
So that was
that's-
when I was in 3rd grade.
Fair enough.
And I remember hearing that song and being like, wow, this is cool.
Do you know where Sum 41 is from?
You mean in
Where's
terms
Richard
of place?
Buckner from? Is he American?
Yeah, I think he lived in
Probably
the
California.
West Coast for a
Let's
while.
just go with that. But guess
think
where?
he's in
Guess where
Oregon.
Sum 41's from?
Uh,
They're from a great country.
USA?
No.
Mexico?
No.
Canada?
Canada, yeah.
Okay.
They're not Mexican. They're Canadian.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna have to wear a hockey jersey for that episode. Eh?
Yeah, you pretty much are always wearing a hockey jersey, though.
Sometimes, but not
Sometimes.
always. But definitely right now. Oh man.
Let me see where Richard Buckner's from.
Richard Buckner. I don't know. I'm just gonna guess California.
California.
I'm from California.
He looks so strange.
Who? Arnold Schwarzenegger or Richard Buckner?
He was from Canada as well.
For real?
Originally from Canada.
Oh, so he
After
technically
living
is a
in
Canadian
Edmonton,
artist.
Alberta for a number of years, he currently resides in Brooklyn.
Awesome.
I believe
He's Canadian.
he's Canadian. Once, if you're born in Canada, always from Canada. Eh?
That means we all have to wear hockey jerseys. He kind of looks like Neil Young.
A little bit.
We all have to wear hockey jerseys for next episode. You guys have to wear one when we do that. When you listen to the episode, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody. Next full-length episode, wear a hockey jersey, eh?
Eh?
Unless you don't have one.
Grab yourself a pound of back bacon, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Tim Hortons, maybe.
Yeah, put on your, what do they call their hats?
Hats.
No, they call it, there's a name for it.
Cubbies.
Not a toboggan, they call it a...
What?
I got something on my head. I got
a hat on my head.
I don't know. A hose head. No, that's not
A hose head.
I can't remember what it
hoser?
is. I'm just trying to think from Bob and Doug McKenzie what they called the hats. A toque. They called it a toque, yeah.
Get your toque on and let's go down to
Yeah,
Tim Hortons.
put your hockey sweater and your toque and we'll go get some Timmies, eh? Sure, eh? Well,
Anyway.
let's finish our beers. This episode might drag on forever if we talk about Canada.
Yeah.
Eh?
Alrighty.
All right, well, once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
I think we did it again where we didn't introduce ourselves in the beginning.
Well, let's finish our beers and let's introduce ourselves, even though I just did it.
My name's Jesse Titus.
We didn't finish our beers first, and then we'll introduce ourselves.
Okay.
I started that in the wrong place. Sorry, guys. You'll hear our names again in just a second, but we'll finish our beers first.
Yeah.
Forget who we are. Just forget it.
Shibbity-boo-doo! Great beer.
Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And we will see if I edit that last name to get it more concise.
Don't
This
do
is
it.
American Brews and Tunes.
Don't do it, future Steve.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da!